Perhaps the single best feature of SoundFlow's 4.2 release is the ability to display and use decks on any supported iOS or Android mobile device. You can now also show decks directly on your Mac screen. Up until now, decks were only able to be shown on Stream Deck devices. So without the limitations of a physical device, you can now have up to 30 columns and 30 rows for a total of 900 buttons that can each have nested folders and subfolders. To display a deck on your device, you first need to download the SoundFlow app from the iTunes or Android store. Once you've installed the app, you can use one of the following methods to display your deck on the device. The simplest way to display a deck on your device is to open the device's SoundFlow app, then choose your computer from the list of computers on your local network that are running SoundFlow. This will take you to the app's main page that displays a grid of the currently installed or pre-made decks and surfaces in your SoundFlow account. You can then simply click on the deck you want to open and it will display. It's that easy. To return to the main page, just click the SoundFlow icon located here in the top right corner. If you don't have any decks yet, you can either install packages from the store with pre-made decks, or you can design your own. I'll add a link to our videos in the description below. If you'd like to be able to open a deck on your Surface via a keyboard shortcut, or have it open when an application becomes active, we'll need to create a macro for this. First, open the SoundFlow iOS or Android app. Then choose from the list of computers on your local network that are running SoundFlow, and once that's done, switch back to the SoundFlow app on your Mac. In the Editor tab, select a package where you want to store your macro and create a new macro by clicking the plus new button in the header here. In this example, I'd like to display my Pro Tools deck, so let's name the macro Open Pro Tools Deck. Now we need to add a new action to the macro by clicking the Add Action button inside the macro editor. When the search field appears, start typing Open Deck Show on Device into the search field until you see the action appear. Select it and then click OK or press Return. Now in the macro action, set the deck property by typing the name of the deck that you want to display. Then set the device property by clicking the drop-down menu here and choosing the device you'd like to display the deck on. If your device name doesn't show up in the device's property drop-down menu, be sure to check that you have your device's SoundFlow app open to the main page. Then navigate away from the newly created command and back. This should refresh the device list to show all the connected devices. For the Open Mode property, in most circumstances, just leave the property set to Open or Create. But if you want to be able to open multiple instances of the same deck on your devices, you can set this to Create New. Now that you've created a macro to display a deck on your device, you could choose to assign the macro to a deck button. You could even use this method to make it control one or more different iPads, iPhones, Android tablets, or Stream Decks. Next, we'll need to assign a trigger to display the deck on your device. To do this, click on the New Trigger button located at the top of the macro editor. This will show a list of different ways to trigger the macro. If we wanted, for example, to assign a keyboard shortcut to the macro, we would select Keyboard Trigger, and then for when these apps are focused, we'd select the app we want the trigger to work in. Then we'd assign the keyboard shortcut. However, in this example, let's assign it to an application trigger, so the deck will display on the assigned device when Pro Tools becomes active. So for the trigger type, choose Application Trigger. Since I want the deck to show on my device when Pro Tools activates, we'll set When These Apps Are Focused to Pro Tools. And for Event, I'll choose Activate. Now when I switch over to Pro Tools, the deck will display on the selected device. The methods I showed here, using the Open Deck action to control when and where decks are shown, can also be used for displaying surfaces on devices with the use of the Open Surface action. This way, you can set a Stream Deck key to open a surface on your iPad or vice versa. The possibilities are endless. So that wraps it up. If you're unsure about anything I've covered in this video, be sure to ask a question in the SoundFlow forum. And as always, until next time, happy sound flowing.